Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2014 NACO Mid-Year Conference. We're so excited you're all here. It's a packed room already. I was telling Marla Moore up here this morning that all you Georgia people must be required to show up on time because I walk in the room this morning and it's packed, so that's a good thing. So we're really excited you're here. Please join me and stand up. We're going to be having the color guard presentation and the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand and join me. Color guard, you can present the colors. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. As they exit the room, please join me in thanking the Savannah State University ROTC program for providing the color guard this morning. Thank you. Please be seated. Well, welcome again to the conference, and I just want to let you know that we are so excited to be here in the state of Georgia. There is a large contingency of you here from Georgia, and it's so great to be back, NACOM to be back in the beautiful city of Savannah. I know all of us who've been here for a few days, and those of you who may have just arrived yesterday have already begun to experience how wonderful this city is. And I want to let you know that this, in fact, is the largest mid-year conference that NACOM has had, thanks to all of you being here, so that's worth a hand. I want to just say we're thankful to our Georgia hosts who've worked very hard on this conference, but also I want to recognize a few people who've worked hard, specifically to our President-elect Michelle Oken, to our educational consultant Dell Kasperick, and the entire Conference Development Committee for planning an outstanding educational conference today and tomorrow. I think you're all going to be really impressed with the education. NACOM continues to lead the nation's court leaders in providing education and networking opportunities. As you probably know, we have close to 1,800 diverse members from all types of courts, backgrounds, and from all over the world. We'll all experience a little of that this week and get to meet some of those people from all over the world, but I hope you'll be getting involved in NACOM's other offerings in the summers, through our publications, and other forms that we can communicate to you and provide education. We're especially honored today to have with us the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia, and he's going to be addressing us here in a moment. But I want to tell you a little bit about the Chief Justice in case you don't know. Chief Justice Hugh Thompson is a native Georgian and a resident of Milledgeville. And really exciting, I was looking at his bio, he's been serving in the judiciary in some various form for over 40 years and will in a few weeks surpass 20 years on the Supreme Court of Georgia. Prior to becoming a justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Thompson served as a Superior Court judge in the 8-county Okmulgee Judicial Circuit. I had to look that one up to make sure I pronounced it close to right. I'm getting the thumbs up, so that's good. He was appointed to that position in 1979 by Governor George Busby. He was reelected repeatedly by the citizens of that circuit and served there from 1979 to 1994. After that, he served in the capacity, or during that time, he served as capacity as chief judge of that circuit court from 1987 to 1994. So he's experienced a number of these roles that we're all learning about this week. Before his appointment as a Superior Court judge, he served from 1971 to 1979 as both judge of the Milledgeville City Court and judge of the Baldwin County Court, now known as the State Court. He received his legal education from the Walter F. George School of Law of Mercer University, earning his Juris Doctorate degree in 1969, and he received his undergraduate training from Emory University and Oglethorpe University. Justice Thompson's achievements are numerous, more than we want to spend our time talking about today, but there are plenty of them. And a few that I want to point out to you is that he served as the president of the statewide Council of Superior Court Judges from 1993 to 1994, and was a 1994 recipient of the Outstanding Alumnus Award from Mercer University Law School. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Chief Justice Thompson.
Gosh, I have to look and be sure it's me that y'all are clapping. I'm not sure. Well, good morning to everyone. And thank you so much, David, for those kind remarks and that introduction. It's my great honor and delight to welcome all of you this morning to the great state of Georgia and to one of our crown jewels, the city of Savannah, the beautiful city of Savannah. I hope while you're here, you'll have an opportunity to do some exploring. You know, oysters are in season. If you don't know, there are all kinds of oyster bars all down the waterfront, and please enjoy our hospitality. Savannah has a rich and vibrant history and culture, and I'm sure you'll want to really get to know a little bit more about the city. It truly is a very unique city in the United States. Now, it's rewarding to me to see so many court administrators here from all over the country, as well as many of you who are here from Georgia. Mr. David Slayton, the president of the National Association for Court Management, who comes to us from the great state of Texas, and my friend Cheston Rooney, whose dad was a district court administrator back in my former years, on the trial bench, president of the Georgia Council of Court Administrators, who's from Sandy Springs, Georgia, up around Atlanta, have helped plan a compelling conference for you. Hopefully, by the time you leave here, you'll be armed with concrete plans for moving your course in a new era that's marked by a growing diversity of people and an explosion in technology that has increased our course efficiency while forcing us to consider changes in rules that govern the use of technology in our courtrooms. Last year, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of Georgia's Administrative Office of the Courts, now under the able leadership of Marla Moore, whom I think probably all of you know. Marla, stand up in case I don't know you. I want to say to all of you who are in the business of court administration, you are the oil that keeps the wheels of justice rolling. Without you, we judges could not do our jobs. Through your skills and hard work, you assure the smooth operation of all of our courts. Perhaps you don't always get the thanks and the credit you deserve, but I assure you, every judge appreciates what you do. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for gracing us in Georgia with your presence. I hope you learn from each other and enjoy your stay. Have a great conference, and thank you for your visit to Georgia.
Although the chief has already done it, is worth doing it again, recognizing Marla Moore, the state court administrator here in Georgia. She has been very supportive and very helpful to this conference, so thanks, Marla. We really do appreciate you. I also wanted this morning recognize a few people in this room who have dedicated a somewhat lifetime of service to NACM, and they are the NACM past presidents who are in attendance today. As I call your name, please stand, and if you in the audience would please hold your applause in, we'll give them their recognition at the end. We have a number of past presidents here with us. Kevin Bowling, Paul Burke, Janet Cornell, Pam Harris, Larry Myers, Marcus Rinkensmeyer, Suzanne Stinson, Shelley Euchre, and Bob Wessels. Please join me in thanking these past presidents. Let's Skip Cheshire. Thank you, Skip. I failed to mention Georgia's past president, Skip Cheshire. Thank you. I also wanted to, I don't want to name you all off, but I wanted to ask all the current and former board members of NACM to also please rise and be recognized. There are plenty of you here. Thank you very much. NACM also enjoys great relationships with a number of national organizations, and a number of those individuals representing those national organizations are here today. In some capacity, they'll be here throughout the conference, and I want to recognize all those different groups. Judge William Murphy from the Conference of Chief Judges of the State Courts of Appeal is here with us this week. Patty Tobias from the Conference of State Court Administrators. Doreen Sutton from the National Court Reporters Association. Carolyn Cooper from American University. Elaine Nugent-Borico from Justice Management Institute, Maureen Connor from the Michigan State University Program, University, Marlene Martineau from the Forum for the Advancement of Court Technology, and Scott Bernard from the American Architects Institute. They're all with us this week, so please join me in thanking them for being with us. We're also very excited. As you know, NACM is continuing its outreach to our international partners and colleagues all around the world. I had the distinct pleasure of attending the International Association for Court Administration's conference in Dubai a few months ago, and I trust you that there are plenty of challenges that our partners from all over the international community are facing. So we're excited to have a few representatives of the international community with us here this week. So if any of them are in the room here, maybe they're not still asleep because of the time difference. We have representatives from Canada, Fiji, and Trinidad Tobago. So, here we go. We got some back here. Thank you very much. We're really glad you're here. A few more announcements, and then we'll get on with the educational content. I want to thank our sponsors that we have. As you probably know, in order to try to keep the costs down for you and still be able to provide you with the outstanding conference that we have, we are grateful to our sponsors for their help. And so a number of the things that have been done for you this week, we're grateful to them. The Schedule of a Glance is sponsored by HDR. The Wi-Fi and laptops are sponsored by the Forum for the Advancement of Court Technology. And if you're wondering, the Wi-Fi password is up on the screen here. The mobile-friendly conference website, which we hope you're all using, is sponsored by New Dawn Technologies. The networking suite last night was sponsored by Thomson Reuters. The suite refreshment break in the exhibit hall this afternoon is sponsored by JAVS. The Ghost and Gravestones tour tonight is sponsored by AMCAD, and the lanyards and the Afterlife party are sponsored by Tyler Technologies. You'll get the opportunity today, hopefully in the exhibit show, to thank them. I hope you'll join us there today. We'll be having a box lunch in the exhibit show area at 11:45 with a prize drawing and sweet treat at 3 o'clock, so please be present for both of those. Make sure you get your prize card at the door so you can participate in the prize drawing at 3. You must be present to win, and for any of you who've attended an NACM conference in the past, know there are always great things to be there for to win. NACM will also be giving away a free registration for this year's annual conference, so don't forget to stop by the NACM booth. Come out tonight and support the NACM Sponsor Scholarship Fund with a couple of fun events. For those of you who've signed up for the Ghost and Gravestones tour, directions are available at the registration desk. And if, unfortunately, for those of you that haven't signed up for that, it is now sold out. But if you haven't signed up for that tour, please join us afterwards at 8 o'clock for the Afterlife Party in the hotel's Harbor Center East, the same place where the exhibit show will be today. There's going to be music, food, and lots of fun, so we hope you'll join us. We're requesting that, since it's a scholarship benefit, we're requesting a suggested donation of $10 to attend, but please don't let that keep you from attending, but we would hope that you would help us support that fund. So money's not going to be collected at the door, so if you want to provide that $10 suggested donation, please stop by the registration desk with your donation before it closes at 5. Dress tonight is casual. And also, one more announcement. For those of you that are needing credits for the Georgia Court Administrator Association, GCCA, the sign-in sheets are available at the registration desk. And one note about programming before I get off the podium here. Tomorrow's workshop by David Wasson, titled The Last Courthouse Ever Built, Courthouse Security 2040, has been unfortunately canceled. So if you were planning on attending that, please make alternate arrangements for what you're going to attend tomorrow. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Michelle Oken, our president-elect, who's going to introduce to us the conference theme and our keynote address this morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. As David mentioned, this is a very successful and our largest mid-year conference ever. Without the help of a special group, we formed a subcommittee approximately 8 months ago of 4 or 5 members, and I wanted to recognize those people right now. Will Simmons, Yolanda Lewis, Edwin Bell, TJ Bemet. If you would all just join me briefly on stage, I have a Lady Justice pin for each one of you for all of your hard work and support in making this conference as successful as it is. NACM is committed to giving back to the communities that host our conferences. And in Savannah, we have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of local children. NACM is holding a book collection for Chris Kids, an organization that provides children, adults, and families with high-quality, trauma-informed behavioral health services. You may drop off new or gently used children's books at the registration desk. There are also bookstores in the area, Barnes & Noble, used bookstores, and then there's also Amazon.com. Books can be sent through February 28th to the Chatham County Superior Court in Savannah, and we have information available at our registration desk, or you can check our conference website. At this time, we'd like to show a brief video on Chris Kids.
Chris Kids' vision is to improve the community by providing children, adults, and families with high-quality, trauma-informed behavioral health services and support systems. The trauma-informed treatment approaches that Chris Kids uses will result in a safer, more vibrant community.
Well-trained staff and training staff from not only our therapists who are licensed and trained, but also down to our direct care staff who are working with the youth on a daily basis. And it's really keeping in mind that kids may do bad things, but they're not bad kids, that they've had a trauma, and we need to think of that first and not about their behavior.
Trauma is defined as an event or a series of events that impact somebody physically, emotionally, spiritually, and impacts their functioning. Anything can be traumatic for different people. What one person experiences as a trauma is not what another person may experience, perceive as a trauma.
We are a large organization that seems to keep growing because we continue to look at the gaps in social services and therapeutic services.
The trauma-informed solutions that our staff use to benefit our community is to work individually with our young people on helping them express themselves, express their feelings and thoughts so that they can reach their goals related to education and employment.
I believe in Chris Kids. I gave up 21 years of corporate America to work here.
While the work that we do here, especially dealing with trauma, can be overwhelming and hard to deal with sometimes, it keeps me coming back every day because of the stories that I see, because of the progress I see and the impact that we make.
There's a quote from Ernest Hemingway, "The world breaks everyone, and afterwards many are strong in the broken places." Chris Kids does that. We make people strong in the broken places, and that's the one thing that I absolutely love about Chris Kids.
Thank you to Renee Kimball and Yolanda Lewis for spearheading this project in conjunction with the Early Career Professionals Group. And lastly, with my announcements, I'd like to thank National Center staff for helping me throughout these past months to make this conference a success. Dale Kasperick, Tony Engel, Lori Gomez, Stacy Smith, Val Gardner, and Tiffany. I don't know if any of them are in the room, but if you are, thank you, and we owe all of you a round of applause. Fast forward 20, 25 years, as we plan for the future, what will the courts look like? Peter Drucker, management consultant, writer, and university professor, states, "Trying to predict the future is like trying to drive down a country road at night with no lights while looking out the back window." Embracing the Courts of the Future was selected by this year's Conference Development Committee as the theme for NACM's mid-year and annual conferences. This conference will focus on a view from 10,000 feet. As eloquently stated by the late President John F. Kennedy, "For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." Today, our view from 10,000 feet will allow us to take a look at human capital, generational cohorts, and diversity. Human capital historically comprises anywhere from 75 to 90% of a court's overall budget. Early closures, layoffs, and furloughs continue to impact court services and the mission of the courts. How will the courts adapt to the changing nature of work and the workforce, including generational considerations and diversity? How will court managers maximize the generational differences to improve court outcomes? Training will have to be carefully crafted to suit the needs of a multi-generational workplace. What diversity issues will the courts face? Which human tasks will be changed or eliminated? And what tasks currently performed will be outsourced? Tomorrow, our view will take a closer look at facilities, technology, and security. The Obama administration has prioritized national issues of cybersecurity, cyber threat, and the cloud, which present serious challenges for our country. Are cyber threats a concern for court data, and have courts matured in the art of protecting data? For example, hacker attacks? There is a greater need for in-state, intrastate, and national information sharing in the courts. Technology continues to be a driving force in the way we do business, automating tasks and processes typically performed by court employees. Will routine court functions be performed remotely? Will hearings with parties physically present in the courtroom become an exception rather than the rule? What will the business of courts look like? And how will courthouse facilities need to change to accommodate the environment in 25 years? All of these critical questions scratch only the surface in our rapidly changing court environment. As we explore the view from 10,000 feet, Let us be mindful of the words spoken by the late Malcolm X. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. Today's keynote address, Leading for Results for 2020 and Beyond, will be delivered by Professor Jackie Middleton. She will address what leading for the future looks like, focusing on the demographics associated with the future of the courts. She will also discuss the competencies needed for the future demographic workplace, creating a motivating workplace, and the strategies to remember about leadership. She believes that leadership sets the tone for an organization. Professor Middleton is chair of the Department of Accounting, Business Management, and Legal Studies, and has been a faculty member at the Montgomery College Germantown campus in Maryland for 25 years. She has received the award of Outstanding Faculty for Montgomery College, the National Institute of Staff and Organizational Development Award, and Educator of the Year in Who is Who Among Educators. She is a national speaker, has lectured for the federal government on diversity and civility, and has been a consultant for the District of Columbia Mayor's Office, Department of Justice, and the DC courts. Professor Middleton is a retired U.S. Air Force officer and was the commander of criminal investigations for the Office of Special Investigations. As a special agent, she led numerous criminal investigations in the U.S. and abroad. She was also the commander in charge of protective service for the president and vice president assigned to the Bush family. This was a dual role between the Secret Service and the Air Force. She was the one and only woman to ever hold this job. Fitness, fitness, fitness is what Professor Middleton told me she enjoys in her free time. She is an avid runner and regularly participates in half marathons. She is currently finishing up a book entitled Leading for Results, a compilation of her experiences from a young 20-something who didn't know much about leadership through today. As a community interest, she works with mentors and coaches teenagers about leadership. And finally, she has a grown son, a 4-year-old granddaughter, and a Cocker Spaniel who regularly runs with her. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce to you your keynote speaker, Professor Jackie Middleton.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, my goodness. It's just been a wonderful opportunity to come here to the great state of Georgia. My family's from the South as well, and to the beautiful historical city of Savannah, Georgia, especially coming from 20-degree weather, landing here yesterday in 70-degree weather. I sat at the airport, and while I was waiting for my shuttle, I just laid in the sun. And have not seen sun since November, so this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me to come down here and get some warm weather and some warm southern hospitality. I really, really want to... Okay. Step. Okay. I really, really want to thank the folks that brought me down here to work with you all, and I thank you all for giving service to the court administration. In keeping our communities and our country safe. The work that you do is so solid, and probably a lot of people don't really know what you do unless they're involved with the courts. But I have been involved with the courts all my life in reference to working in criminal justice, and I really thank you for giving service because I know the work is very, very hard. Back home in Maryland, I continually work with the courts in Maryland because I have judges and attorneys, district attorneys that work with me as educators. So I'm thoroughly involved in what's happening with the courts, and I also sit on some boards back home in Maryland that talks about court administration. So to say leadership, as Michelle said, I have lived that topic all my life, and it's my passion. And I think leadership sets the tone for an organization to be successful or not. There are a lot of philosophies on leadership. There are a lot of writings on leadership historically. But I just want to talk about some things that I think are real practical principles of leadership. And it's because of my experience in that role. I've been in that role all my life and never had an opportunity not to be a leader, just to be responsible for Jackie. So I've been responsible for other people all my life, and I think for a person to want to do that, you have to have passion, you have to be persistent, you have to practice what I call the 3 Ds, you have to be determined to achieve that mission, dedicated to the cause, and disciplined, okay, to make sure that the organization is successful through your leadership. Here's a couple things that I want to say about leadership, what it is not, in my opinion. First of all, leadership is not about your power. I've learned that. Even though you are powerful and empowering other people, leadership is not about your position. I've learned that. Even though your position is very critical for the organization to get the work done and get the mission done. Leadership is not about profit if it's a profit organization, even though that we know that we have to make profit to sustain an organization, to keep the organization going towards the future. But leadership is about 2 Ps that I find are very important. It's about people, the people who do the work, the critical work to serve the community, and it has to be done with passion. I have college students who take a course with me on leadership and management, and that's what I teach them, that you're going to go out into the world as future leaders. They are the future. And building future leaders, I believe that we should mentor them, coach them, and get them ready to take our place. And I firmly do that all the time. Chief Justice Thompson said that it's about a growing diversity, it's about appreciating your staff, and about having the use of current technology. So I want to build on that. First of all, we know great leadership, and I want to call it great leadership, okay? It's about having a vision. You have to have a vision, and we've been told that for years. That vision is really, really important. If we don't have a vision, you don't know where you're going individually, and people won't follow you. But as a leader, you have to know your vision. Your vision, and then to enroll other people into that vision so it becomes their vision and they're committed to it. And it must be done with clarity, it must be done with a sense of purpose, and it must be done through a tool that we all constantly forget to use sometimes, which is constant, effective communication. All the time we got to communicate, because as leaders, we're change agents. That's why we call it courts of the future. That means the courts all across this country, as well as overseas, okay, it's changing because the people are changing, the people who come to use your courts are changing, the dynamics are changing, the world is changing. So we're change agents, even though sometimes as change agents, it's hard to do. It is a challenging situation to work with because sometimes people resist that change or resist the opportunity to go through that journey with you called change. But you have to communicate that to people all the time. So first of all, enrolling the vision, gotta have the vision. We are servant leaders. That's what I'm going to talk about in a moment. I'll pull up the PowerPoint. But I want to kind of set the tone. Another thing Michelle said, she said that I believe in setting the tone. You really do need to set the tone. And the tone to me means set the tone of friendliness. There's so many leaders. I've talked to so many leaders in the federal government, in private sector, nonprofit organizations, and in academia that have told me, and I've talked to so many staff, remember, people are your most valuable asset. People matter. I've learned that. Did I know that early on? No, I didn't. Jackie mattered because I'm building a career path. But when I was put into a position early on in my 20s, I took on the responsibility and the accountability for being responsible for other people to get the work done. And when I took on that responsibility, I realized how important it was that how I treated my staff and how I included my staff and the principles that I had to learn in order to do that, to support them in the work that they did, because all of us have important work. So I had to learn that it wasn't about my position. I had to learn that it wasn't about my power. Immediately, I was given power as a young second lieutenant. Immediately. That was a given. But I had to learn that even though I had that position and I had that power, that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. And I immediately had to realize that I had to have passion and inspiration, as I call it, inspirational leadership. I had to believe in the mission. And I had to get them to believe in the mission and get them to believe in me. Immediately, I had to figure out that I had to set a tone of trust, build trust. Because if you don't have a tone of trust, and I'm going to talk about that a little later, No one will want to follow you. They won't believe you. It's just not, it won't work. It's dysfunctional when you don't have trust. And I'll share with you some of my ideas on how to build trust. We have to be able to communicate all across divisions and lines so that all of us as leaders are on the same page. That means committee work that we don't want to do. That means having some tough conversations and dialogue. That means putting everything on the table, looking at the facts, looking at the evidence, and then figuring out what strategies we want to have in order to get the work done. It has to be open and honest communication and leaving our egos where? At the door. Leaving our egos at the door. It's not about me, it's about the people that I serve. I'm a servant leader, and I became a servant leader over the years, that I'm here to serve you today. I'm here to serve my college students. I'm here to serve whoever it is that is receiving something from me, receiving my passion, receiving my energy, receiving my thoughts, as well as learning from you as well. I'm always open to learning things because that makes me a better person as I grow. So, vision. You got to have that vision. It needs to be clear. You need to know, because I hold you accountable and responsible for having a vision. You need to know where you're going, enroll your staff into that vision, and communicate it clearly and with clarity. With that vision needs to be directly correlated to your mission. Has to be correlated to the mission. As the mission changes, the vision changes. With that vision, something that Chief Justice Thompson said, you know that it has to be an inclusive environment. You leave nobody out. Everyone is included. Everyone. And I also tell people that even though you're not in a position of leadership, all of you are here, but the courts are still going on. They have to. So people back home in the receptive locations there, they still lead from where they stand. Everyone's a leader. Everyone's a leader. When they make decisions at their level, they are leaders. When they communicate and provide service at their level, they are leaders. When they listen to their clients and their customers, they are leaders. So I always tell everyone, you're a leader, but you're a leader from where you stand. You have leadership potential from where you stand. So everyone's a leader. But those of us who are in positions of leadership, we have responsibilities a lot more than other people. And we should be held accountable for those responsibilities. As a leader, as I said, you include everyone. Leave no one out. No one. I'll talk about that a little later too. So, vision, we understand what all that entails, all the ingredients of vision. Got to have one. You have to sit down with yourself and figure out, what is my vision for the future of the courts? Based upon all the dynamics around the courts that impact the courts, such as the business environment, such as technology, the business environment, such as competition, the business environment, such as geographical differences, sociological and political differences. What things are impacting the court that we need to be constantly aware of? We need to do an environmental scan constantly as leaders, figuring out where we need to go and how we need to get there, and what is impacting the courts. How are the courts changing? What's changing around us that's dynamic? And we need to be on top of that and be ready for that. And as I heard in several of the announcements today, prepared for that. And I tell folks, they say, Jackie, we should be prepared for the next 5 years, right? I says, no, we should be prepared for the next 50 years. Japanese theorists and thoughts of leadership and management and organizational structure have always said 20 years down the road. Now it has moved to 50 years down the road. Okay? We need to be prepared. 5 years is like a bat of an eye. It means nothing. It means nothing. When I was in my 20-somethings, I was thinking 20 years down the road, where do I want to get to in building my career? So I've always been a visionary thinker. That's why I like to have detailed people around me, because I'm not the detailed person. I'm a visionary person. I think about the future. I think about a contingency plan. If one thing doesn't work, what's my backup plan? I think strategically. Maybe it's because I was taught that way being in the Air Force and had the responsibilities that I had. I think strategically. I think about what's working, what's not working. I think about the environmental SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that would impact the work. I think about what type of people, human capital management, what type of workforce are we going to have for the future in reference to generational differences and demographics. What do we have for the future? What skills do we need to have? What competencies do we need to have? What is the work going to look like? Are we an organization that's gotten left behind, i.e. technology? Are we an organization, let's say an organization that has not done an environmental scan? An organization that does not see the demographic change or the demographic shift that's happening across America? Are we an organization that doesn't understand the types of skills people need to have, and then when they work with us and they don't have the types of skills, we didn't plan for it? We have to think about that. It's hard thinking. As leaders, we are change agents. Third point, vision, mission. Another thing we need to be aware of is our customer service. All the time. All the time. How do we deliver our services? How do we communicate our services? How do we treat people? And I'm going to talk about this one for a minute. How do we treat people? How do we set the tone? Something as simple as saying good morning to someone is important. Simple, but important. Something as saying hello to your staff. I've been told by staff all across this country, and they're hurting, all across this country, how people are not civil towards them. How people are not civil towards them. Such as the welcoming remarks that people have had today. Such as the hospitality of the state of Georgia, the hospitality of Savannah. That people are not civil towards each other across this country, in workplaces towards this country, yelling, hollering, and screaming at them, not including them. Even when you know that they have the talents, abilities, and skills to do the work, and you still don't include them because of your biases. I've been told that managers specifically, okay, have treated their staff really bad and have built their careers on other people's backs. One thing I say about leadership, L-E-A-D, or lead is let everyone achieve and develop. It's not about me. It's not about my career. Because, see, individually, my staff expects me to be educated constantly. They expect me to learn. They expect me to be talented. They expect me to have abilities. It's my responsibility to do that. But it's not my responsibility, it is not my opportunity to build my career on others and not recognize them and praise them for the work that they do. It wasn't Jackie, it was my staff. My staff expect me not to motivate them, because I don't believe in motivating people. In little opportunities of motivation, yes. But I believe in something called the motivating workplace. That it's my job to create a motivating workplace because I set the tone. So customer service. And then there's this word diversity. Way back in the day, I used to teach a course called, in the military actually, and as a military investigator. I've had 2 careers in the military. The first one was an EEO investigator, where we taught and we investigated EEO complaints, discrimination complaints. And we also went to the classroom and taught those topics. I stayed in that career field for a short period of time, but it gave me the love of equal opportunity and treatment for everybody. It helped me. Okay? It helped me for my future career. It gave me the love of equal opportunity for everybody. Okay? And then I went on to become a federal agent, and I worked in criminal justice all my career. And that was really my passion, to keep the community safe. But the love of equal opportunity helped me to understand, as we call it today, diversity. The diversity of age and race and gender. The diversity of disability and sexual orientation. The diversity of religion. The diversity of thinking style, learning style, personalities. The diversity of geographical location. This is a very different place, Savannah, Georgia, compared to California. The diversity of people's knowledge and their abilities and their talents and their skills and their gender. Some that are mandated by law, Civil Rights Act, Title VII, 1964, Title VII, and then others that are not mandated by law because it has something to do with our human capital management, my knowledge, my experience, my skills, my talents, military versus non-military, pay grade, high pay grade, lower pay grade. Career field diversity. Some people are in certain career fields and they think their career fields are the most important. And it's not. We need it all. We need all of the career fields. Some are lawyers, some are not. Some are technology, some are not. Some are economists, some are not. Some are in personnel, some are not. All of it matters. I don't think anyone is any better than anybody else. I just know that I need what? All of it. I need all of it. I need everybody in order, and I set that tone very early. No isms under me, with me, none. Not even that thing called gossipism. You will not work well with me if you're a gossiper, okay? Not even nepotism and cronyism doesn't work well with me. Doesn't work well with me. Not even criticism doesn't work well with me, to criticize people. You give people constructive, critical what? Say the word, please. Feedback. Give people feedback about their performance and about their conduct or behavior. You give them feedback about those two areas, positive and negative. But you don't beat them down, wear them down, and tear them down. It's almost like a game that folks play called, if you heard it, I'm sure it's all across the country, whack-a-mole, the whack-a-mole game. And that mole comes up, and you have a hammer, and you beat it, and you beat it, and you beat it, and you beat it. You beat it as hard as you can, because as hard as you can, the points go up, and then you win. Yeah, but by the time you beat on a person like that, if they allow you to beat them like that, but by the time you beat on a person like that, you've worn them out. Now you're considered a bully. You've worn them out. And if you wanted to get any human capital management from them, any knowledge from them, any ideas from them, any talent from them, they can't give it to you. Because you've now put them in fear and you've threatened them. Those kind of leaders need not be in place. And people above them need to remove them because they infect and affect your organization. They really, really do. And then it impacts your mission because the work is not getting done. Not at the level that you want it to be. High quality. I believe in excellence. Not meeting the expectations, but excelling the goals and the mission. That's what we want everybody to do. It's called teamwork as well. Together, each achieves more. That's why, as a leader, you cannot be selfish. You cannot be all about you. I'm selfish about excellence, yes. I'm selfish about everybody in my staff feeling safe and secure, if you want to call that selfish. But you cannot be about you. It has to be about them. And what do they need? And have crucial conversations with people. Again, about their performance and their conduct. You cannot let anyone have bad conduct and get away with it. Cannot. Because then it's not fair to the staff. They're doing all the work. Person has bad conduct, and then you allow that bully to work in that area. And you cannot be a bully from colleague to colleague. So, be inclusive, set the tone. The use of technology. Technology has to be the state-of-the-art technology. Because other than that, we get left behind. I heard Michelle say, or someone say up here, about the cloud. Yes, we have to understand about the cloud and cybersecurity. Too many things are going on in the world today. Too many things. And if information is stolen or someone has broken into that information, it will put the organization in jeopardy, and there comes lawsuits. Just like when I talk about diversity, that one of the reasons why I appreciate diversity, as Chief Justice Thompson said, appreciating your staff, appreciating the diversity of your staff. One of the things that I really appreciate about diversity is that it involves, number one, it involves everybody. Number two is, if everyone has a fair opportunity to be included and not left out, opportunity for all the workplace opportunities that they can get based upon their talents, their skills, and their abilities, and based upon that only, not their race, not their gender, not their age, not their culture, not their generation. If they have that opportunity, you will have less EEO complaints. You will have less people complaining. Doesn't mean that you won't have people still complaining, because you got complainers out there, they'll complain about anything. That's just who they are. That's a toxic person, and I know who they are, okay? But if I have everything straight, if I have all my facts, all my evidence there, they can complain all they want, and my job is to stand firm and take the heat when it comes. As leaders, we take the heat. So, what did I start off with? Vision, mission, customer service, and diversity. Okay. One other thing. Motivation, a motivating workplace. You'll see it again on my PowerPoint. When I said my job as a leader, because I set the tone, I take the responsibility and accountability, two important words to me. I'm responsible and I'm accountable. And if I don't do that, I feel as though personally that I have fallen short. I take the responsibility to be a very passionate leader. I have a staff of 4 people, but 25 part-time. Okay, the 25 part-time, they are professionals who are in the areas of accounting, economics, and a lot of legal studies. I have some judges that work with me. I have some attorneys, district attorneys back in Maryland that work with me because they love to teach. They're legal educators, but they're also still active in the county, in the court system. And they're wonderful. I've known them for 25 years. They're wonderful, and we had many personal conversations. But when I tell them that it's time now that I'm probably gonna transition, I don't use the word retire. I've retired once. Transition, they say, and I said, we need to find a new person to take my place out of this group here. And they said, Jackie, no, please don't. I said, well, it's time. I'm telling y'all, it's time because I'm coming to Savannah, Georgia. I'm coming back to Savannah, Georgia during my spring break, and I'm going to investigate this area because I love it. I was just telling Michelle, I went running this morning to see the sun come up. It was just beautiful out. And I'm coming because this is the type of place that I like to be in this time of my life. But they say, Jackie, don't leave. And I'll sit and talk with them. I says, why not? They says, because we can't do what you do. I said, well, I've fallen short because I have not taught you to do what I do. We don't want to do what you do. We see what you do. We don't want to do what you do. The meetings, the battles, the fights, all the things you have to go to make this workplace for us safe and secure so that we can do the frontline work. But I also know what they do too because I also do it. I have double duty as a leader, but I'm also in that classroom. I have to stay there to be connected to our customers, to hear what they have to say, and to continue to perfect my what? My craft of teaching, my love, which is why I went into academia. So one of the things you have to make sure is that your staff can step in your place and you move out of the way. You've got to be able to do that. Okay, got to be able to do that. So let me talk about motivation. I have read many books on motivation, many theorists on motivation, and it's all good. It taught me a lot. But I've lived motivation. I've seen how, by experience, I've seen how it works or not. So I finally realized one day that it's like a relationship. I believe in relationships, another part of leadership is you building relationships. Some of you call it networking. I call it relationship building. You got to build relationships across the organization, across the country, across the different courts. Build relationships is so very important. First of all, have a relationship with your staff, okay? And then have a relationship with other people who are in your field. So in building relationships, I realized that I could give a person everything that they want based upon their needs and some of their wants, and they still won't do a good job. And they still won't have what you would call professional good conduct. So I said, no, I'm giving too much of myself trying to help this individual when they're not doing anything. I got to deal with the behavior part now. So I realized a long time ago, I said, Jackie, what has made you successful as a leader over the years? What did you do? Think about it. And when I started thinking about it, I realized that it wasn't about me trying to figure out psychologically every single person, because that would take forever and that would really drain me, what their needs are, other than the basic needs. Everybody needs a nice office, everybody needs an opportunity. I understand all that. But I said, my job is to create a motivating environment. A motivating environment. It's the environment of the workplace that will cause an organization not to be successful. It is the environment. So I started looking at the environment and I said, what things in that environment has really helped me to help people? Because my job is to be a servant leader, to serve my staff. And I said, number one, no isms. None. Jackie, you practice the no-ism technique. Train of thought. That means no ageism, no genderism, no racism. All the isms that you can think of. No isms. Because then if you have isms, the workplace is not safe and secure for people. They will feel threatened, they'll feel intimidated, they'll be in fear, and subsequently their work performance will go down. Productivity will go down, the morale will go down, mistakes will be made, no strategic thinking is going on, everybody's just in a hole and closing their doors if they have a door so that you won't come get them. So no isms, number one. And gossipism is on the list. None of that. I tell people if they gossip, I don't have that worry at my workplace, my current workplace. But I say if you gossip, that's really a behavioral issue. It really is. And based upon Office of Personnel Management rules and regulations of employees, I can call you in for gossiping based upon behavior and tell you what? I hear you all saying stop it. I tell them to keep your mouth shut. I'm firm about that. Stop talking about people because I'm wondering while you're gossiping, are you working? And legally, it can be considered defamation of character. And legally, someone could file a complaint against you. So you better stop the gossiping because it demoralizes the workplace. It demoralizes the workplace. And that's all people start to doing, and it's like a disease. Everybody starts to doing it. Then you have a culture of gossiping. You have a culture. Anything that's negative, you can create a culture. You can create a culture. I believe in creating a culture that's built on relationships, that's built on inclusiveness, a culture that's based on everybody gets an opportunity, a culture that's based on fairness, a culture based on open and honest communication and trust. No isms in that motivated workplace. Also in the motivating workplace, make sure you have crucial conversations and dialogue with people. And use which skill? Which one? Listening. Listen to people. We are so busy in our everyday lives going here and there and things that we have to do, we don't take the time to listen. And your staff will know that you don't listen. You're not a listener. Listen to people. I spend time, and as a leader, yes, it's a lot of energy and a lot of time. But if you don't want to do that, then don't be in a position of leadership. Just roll by yourself. Don't be responsible for the organization. So it does take a lot of time and a lot of energy to listen to people. Listen effectively to people. Crucial conversations, constructive, critical feedback, and I call it critical feedback. Give people critical feedback, the feedback that they need to know to make a change. The feedback that they need to know to move forward. Also in that motivating workplace, it should be fair. It should be inclusive. You should recognize and praise people for the work that they do. Jackie didn't do it. Michelle did it. Or Paul did it. Or Yolanda did it. See, I'm remembering names. Okay? Jackie didn't do it. And when your people are successful, I said this earlier, when they're successful, I put a smile on my face and on my heart because then I know it's a direct correlation to my what? Leadership. It's a direct correlation to my leadership. And I've been to so many award celebrations where my staff and faculty have gotten awards, and I just sit back and gloated. I say, yeah. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them, just like they're happy for me. And we do it as a team. Together, each achieves more. Not one person, everybody's diversity, everyone's talents. From generational talents for the traditionalists, 64 and above, to 80 million of us baby boomers. It's 80 million of us, y'all. 80 million of us to Generation X, Generation Y, and millennials that are coming. We need everybody. And as soon as there is a conflict on the line, my job is to make sure that conflict is resolved. You cannot let that fester and happen for such a long time. People don't like each other. You don't have to like each other, you just have to work with each other. I like people to like each other, like something about someone, okay? But, you know, if you don't have that going on, work with each other. It's about the what? The mission. It's about the people that you serve. That's why we really, really have to know what leadership means. Let everyone achieve and develop. Okay, let's see if we can get this PowerPoint on. Am I done? I think I gave you all everything I wanted to tell you. Okay. All right, so I said I'm a servant leader, so I present this to you from a servant leader point of view. I really believe in serving others. It's been my life's work to serve. As a military officer, I served this country. Wow, did I serve it. Working with the Bush family, it was the most challenging career I ever had. Wonderful opportunity, learned so much, but it was a job of service and protection. And I could not even make a what? Mistake. Okay, couldn't make a mistake. Thank you. Couldn't make a mistake, but what I've learned in other areas of my life, in other career fields of my life, I've learned to allow people to make mistakes and not hold it against them. We hold grudges against people because they make mistakes. You sit and have a crucial conversation with them, give them constructive, critical feedback, and then let them learn from that mistake so they won't do it again. But don't put them in fear. You also take away the power from them of risk taking. They won't take a risk. I want to say something about vision too. Something that I find that a lot of leaders don't do, and I find a lot of things that they do really well, but a lot of leaders don't. When they have a vision, they don't communicate that vision, and then they may communicate the vision, but they don't tell people what the expectations are. I find that that's a problem. You gotta tell people, what are your expectations? If you can't share your expectations or communicate your expectations or have a dialogue about your expectations, something's wrong as a leader. You can't tell people what to expect. Some leaders like for you to just build things, but in organizations like this, and other organizations I've worked in, you can't do that. When you're entrepreneurial, you can do that. And even in this business, you need to be entrepreneurial. You have to have some aspects of entrepreneurism. So clearly share your expectations and make sure roles and responsibilities are what? Clear. Make sure roles and responsibilities are clear. You should never have a staff member saying, I don't know what my role is. That's confusion. What do you mean they don't know what their role is? As a new leader, what I always did when I went to a new place, I haven't had to do that in a long time because I've been at Montgomery College for a long time. I would sit with my staff. I had already looked at their personnel records, so I knew what their talents and skills were. That's strategic. I already knew what their talents and skills were, their weaknesses and their strengths as well. And I don't call it really weaknesses. I think things that they may fall short on a little bit. We all do, even as leaders, we all do, because we're humans. No one's perfect. But even though we want the organization to have a perfect mission. And I would sit with them as a group, as a large group, I would share my expectations. I would tell them, here are my expectations. Here's my vision, and here are my expectations. As a large group, let's have a dialogue about what's been working really well here, and I let them tell me. And I tell them, let's continue to do that, let's capitalize on that. And what's not working so well? And then we would collectively together figure out some strategies, I believe in strategies, to change that image. Because my goal in the back of my mind, being a visionary, is that I need the organization to be effective and efficient and take care of business. So we'd have that conversation, large group. And then I would sit down with each person. It took me a while, depending on how many people I had. It took me a while. And I would ask Also, let me go back to the large group for a minute. One other question I would ask them is, not only would I share my expectations of them, I ask them in a large group, what are your expectations of me? What do you need from me as an office, as a large group, in order to be what? Successful. And they would tell me. Because they would tell me, even though I was new, they would tell me, because they had already sensed about me that number one, I was sincere. Number two, I cared about the mission and cared about them, okay? And that I wanted some honest feedback. And that I wouldn't take the feedback later on and do what? And retaliate. Okay? Can't do that. Can't do that. You lose all kinds of respect when you do that. That you're not an honest person. That you have a hidden agenda. That you're passive aggressive, and I can't figure those kind of people out. Okay? Something's wrong. And then everything, now you continue to be a dysfunctional organization. Then I would meet with them one-on-one, get to know them, ask them the same questions. I would reinforce my expectations again, and ask them the same questions. What do you need from me in order for you to be what? Successful. And that worked really, really well for me as the trust started to build, as the respect started to build. And something that I learned about servant leadership is people want three things at the end of the day, at the end of their career. And three things that I want to leave as my legacy to the workplace, because I think the workplace is the most important place you could have in your life, because you spend more time in the workplace. How many years? 10, 20, 30, 40 years, okay? Minus sick time, vacation time, leave time. You are with others more than your significant family members and friends. So that workplace is so important that it is very functional, it's fair, it's firm, it has standards and expectations. People feel safe and secure. But here's the three words. And if we don't have it personally, then you need to get it. I'm looking at some folks talking right now. Please. The first word is respect. Respect. Respect each other. People always say, you have to earn respect. No, not with me. That's something that I just give another human being. And then after that, I start seeing how you are. You don't have to earn respect with me. I think automatically as a human being, we need to give that to people. They're human. But because of our own biases and own insecurity, I can't stand leaders that are insecure. I really don't like that kind of behavior. And low self-esteem. You shouldn't be in a position of leadership. You should your self-esteem should be intact. Your security should be intact. If someone's trying to get your job, so what? Let them try to get it. That means you're going someplace else and you did good. Don't worry about that. You're not going to be unemployed unless they fire you for something that is what? Illegal. You're not going to be unemployed. So what are you in fear of? You shouldn't be like that. That is a weakness to me that I think we need to change. And if you're a bully as a leader, and you're not civil as a leader because you have no respect for people, then I think someone needs to, either you say, well, I just can't respect these people. I'm just going to be a bully because I don't like them. I don't like nothing. I don't even want to speak to them in the morning when they come in. I hate getting to work. We have enough stress as it is trying to get to work every morning. It's like the stress of trying to get to Savannah, Georgia when you're coming from cold country. and me and one of my colleagues from New Jersey, we're on the same, flight. We stop in Charlotte, and we're talking about how we're going to get home after we leave here because the weather's supposed to be bad on that end. We had this conversation this morning, and we got to go back through Charlotte. So it's enough stress as it is. Why are you creating stress? Why are you creating stress? You create stress because that's your personality. That is who you are. You worry, you create stress, and you put it on other people. That's not a good leader. You don't create stress, you manage stress. How do I deal with my stress? Because you never would I would never tell you a lie and say I don't have stress. Of course I do, I'm human. I live in an environment of stress. The world is stressful, but we make it that way. How do I deal with my stress? I manage my own stress. That's my responsibility. One of the things I do, I love peace. I love peace. You won't work well with me if you're not peaceful. If you're always causing problems, always beating up on people and bullying people, I'm going to deal with you head on and it's going to stop or you got to go. I'm not going, you're going to go. Because my job, I love my staff so much, I will create a safe and secure environment for them. And when we do have problems and when we do have conflict, we sit down and have a crucial dialogue. They understand that one of my leadership principles and my personality is communication. Let's communicate. And I practice that at home, I practice that with my family, I practice that with my friends. If you cannot communicate with me, then something's wrong. And I create an environment where they will communicate with me and not be put in fear because they know me. And I always tell them, tell me the good and tell me the not so good. I don't want to tell. Some people don't want to tell their supervisors the not so good because they're afraid. But see, I need to know the not so good. I'm going to get upset with you if you don't tell me the not so good, because the not so good helps me to be able to figure out what to do. We can figure it out together, or it may be my job to figure it out. And I've been told the not so good many, many years. I've been in the workplace a long time, like a lot of us in here. So everything has not been perfect. There's no perfect workplace. But my job is to try to keep it functional. And my job is to take care of the business. My job is to think strategically. My job is to take care of the customer. My job is to make sure we have excellent quality work. My job is to make sure you have a fruitful journey while you're working with me, not for me. I teach my management students to change their language. Okay. I said, there's some language out here that we use when we work with other people. And I'll share it with you, and you all probably use this language as well. We say people work for me. I don't believe that. I think we're in partnership with each other. I need you and you need what? Me. I need you to do what you do really well based upon your talent, skills, and abilities and your personality, and you need me. We work together. Another word that it's just a difference of opinion, and I have my opinion. I don't like subordinates. I don't like that word. It's Webster's word. It has a meaning. And sometimes, because people use that word, they start to believe in that word. It comes into their spirit. You're a subordinate. That means you are below me. And some people, bad leaders, okay, because you are below me, because you're a subordinate, I'm going to treat you that way. I don't like that word. And I surely don't like the slave word of boss. Boss. I tell people, don't call me boss. I'm nobody's boss. I have one boss, but it's not here. I don't like that word. Boss. We know where it comes from. Stop using those kind of words, especially if it goes into your spirit of how you treat people. And people will see it. This is staff. I can't think of any other word. Staff. Okay. So, people want three things. See, I got good memory. I'm a baby boomer. My memory's still good. I know how to get to what I'm getting to. We said, number one word is what? Respect. Respect, respect, respect. Never forget that. Respect everybody. And I'm going to tell you something. Respect is as simple as saying good morning to people. Because when you say good morning to people, that tells them that you value them, that people matter. Second word, they want to be treated with dignity. Treat people with dignity. How many, just please raise your hands, and we won't know that it's you. Just raise your hands. How many of you have seen people that that take away people's dignity? Raise your hands. Okay? Look around, folks. Keep your hands up high. I want them high. Look around that treat people without dignity. And that can be in many forms, many types of treatment. It can be a silent treatment as well, where I just don't tell you information. I'm sitting in a group, and everybody in that group has the knowledge and the abilities and the answers. And I'm sitting there wanting to share my answer or my idea, and you exclude me. You don't even look at me like I'm invisible. You don't even look at me like I'm invisible. I don't matter to you. And I tell people, if they get that constant type of behavior towards them, and you can't, and it's not like a EEO complaint or anything, it's not like a harassment or bullying complaint or anything, because I don't really tell people, go file a complaint. I don't do that, because I know people are going to do it anyway. But to protect themselves, I don't tell people that. I tell them, start looking for another job. Okay? Start looking at where you can go in this organization. Because you are not being treated with dignity. You are not being treated with dignity. So people want respect, they want dignity. And then thirdly, all they really want, regardless of who they are, some of us have all these daggone biases, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But regardless of who they are, all they want to do, because they love their work and they love their craft, because they've sacrificed through education, through knowledge, through experience, a lot of people have, they want to just do their jobs. They want to give service with their talent, skills, and abilities and knowledge and everything that's about them. They just want to give service. I just want to come to work every day. I want to do my job. I want to get what? I want to get paid. and be in a workplace that's safe and secure, and I don't have to worry about anyone beating up on me, and especially you, the manager. I want to have the same employment opportunities as anybody else. If it's warranted, if I deserve it, if I'm qualified to do it, okay? That's all we want. So, respect, second one again, dignity, and last one, let them give service with their talent, skills, and abilities. Okay. Leadership, inspirational and motivational synergy to direct, guide, and influence others to adhere to group or organizational goals. What are the key words there? Inspirational? Okay. Motivational, synergy. Strategic leadership? Okay, the ability to articulate and envision organizational success, think strategically to create a positive future for the organization. Visionary leadership, let's go back to that. Creates a positive image of the future that motivates staff and provides direction for future planning and goal accomplishment. So here are some of the ingredients. Keeping the staff informed. Keep them informed. They need to know. They need to know the knowledge. Secondly, set the right example. Leaders set the tone and the mood of the organization, and always have professional what? Behavior, okay? I said this earlier, make sure that it's a safe and secure work environment. Safe from harassment, bullyism, any of the isms. People should have a safe and secure work environment. Every day when people come to work, they should wake up saying, I want to go there. I love working there. I love the leadership there. Okay? Self-awareness. Train your staff, we know that. Train them as a team, train them as individuals. Training is important to keep people confident. But we also want to make sure that we have self-awareness. What about your integrity? What about your honesty? What about your courage, your confidence, your modesty, loyalty to your values and beliefs? I'm a very humble person, very humble. Even with the resume stuff, I'm like this. Okay, all right, yes. But you got to be humble as a leader. Be humble, okay. Embrace diversity, we talked about that. Be technically proficient. As a leader, that's not my background, technology, but I learned technology. And I have technological experts around me, okay? Make sound and timely decisions as a leader. Future leaders use knowledge of history to predict the future. They create honest and safe work environment. We said this before, what? No isms. And I have 5 F's, I think it's 5 F's that I want you to know. First simply means you are first to set the tone. You are first to create the mood. You are the example. Firm simply means be firm about the expectations, the outcomes, and the standards. Be fair to people, that means being inclusive. Everybody gets an opportunity for success. Flexible, that means if you're going down one path because you're so rigid, okay, and not willing to listen to your staff, you need to be flexible if they come back with all the evidence and all the facts that says, we need to go in another direction, Jackie. And then work should be what? Fun. 3 P's, power, position, and people. People is your most valuable asset. Build trust and give them a sense of what? Hope. Hope means to me, H-O-P-E, help other people to excel. I've been in a mission all my life to help other people to excel. All my life, I can honestly say, I have helped so many people. Now, that's not being humble right now. That's a fact, okay? So you want to give people hope, help other people to excel. Ask for employees' ideas and their suggestions, recognize and praise them, communicate your expectations, your outcomes, and the results constantly. Crucial conversations and create an environment of respect, dignity, and inclusion. Okay? And eagerly and effectively communicate the vision, the mission, and values. Values promotes equity, diversity, and inclusion. Inspire others to take risks, make sound decisions, and accept responsibility, and I want to add accountability to that. Establish networking and partnerships throughout the organization. That's why you should build relationships with people, okay? Create a learning organization where all should be learning constantly. How many of you work in what you would consider a learning organization? You're learning things all the time, okay? Learning organization. Solicit input from those impacted by the decisions, especially because we as leaders, we are change agents. You're talking about the future of the courts. We are changing. Get the ideas on how to change from the people who do the work. Include them. Include their ideas because it impacts them. Plan strategically by using current data and best practices. Use resources effectively. I'm going to just go through a couple of them. Effectively use planning and delegating and time management. Okay? These are just managerial skills that we need to have. All right, demographics. Just take a look at the demographics. Everybody, this is what we all have. Okay? But even with the demographics, we're talking about age and skills and geographics, marital status, sexual orientation, religion, ethnicity, gender. I mean, it goes on and on. We have to understand the demographics and then how to relate to that demographics and how to put things in place that's going to affect that demographics. Okay? Set the tone, be a servant leader. If they're successful, we say you're successful. Spend time with them, listen, problem solve, career develop with them, strategic planning. And if you are not a detail leader, surround yourself with detailed staff. Okay, as a leader, your job is not to motivate, but to what? Inspire. Bad leadership impacts and affects a team, organizational culture, or agency. Don't make judgments. Get the what? Facts. Get the facts. Don't make judgments about people. People are your most valuable asset, so be a servant leader. Here's something that's significant. While you like them, whether you like them or not, whether they are great performers or not, you must what? Lead them, so learn to teach them, coach them, and mentor them. Okay? People want, let's keep going. People want respect, dignity, and allowed to give service. We talked about that. Let them grow and let them go. Okay? People want 3 things at the end of the day, right? And what's that again? Respect, dignity, and allow them to give service. And here's another important ingredient. People are your most valuable what? Asset. Please, please, set the tone of friendliness. Be friendly towards each other. Be friendly towards human beings. Give service to them. And I thank you all for giving service for what you do, your dedication, your determination, and your discipline. Thank you.